Ooh.
Ooh-wee.
Clappity clap clap.
There's a clap, and that clap means we back.
Another podcast.
Another podcast.
Another
for the
crowd culture.
boys. I am Chris.
And I'm Edwin.
Sorry, let me get the A.
Oh, okay. Wait, no, we're going to redo it.
The new Crisco kid. If you get the reference, let me know.
We're going to be talking about him today. And I'm Edwin.
Edwin.
Latrell.
The vanilla buttercream.
I'm the caramel Latrell Sprewell.
Caramel Latrell Sprewell.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
I like that
one. I like that one.
As you can't tell, we're going to talk about the NBA today.
Yes, we are.
You can't tell by Chris's jersey.
If you couldn't tell, Detroit basketball, and the only reason I'm talking about it is because I got mad love for Jalen Rose and Detroit and Fab Five, Michigan, and all that good stuff. I'm still a Celtics fan, but I'm wearing a Ben Wallace jersey, and I don't know.
Are you a fan of every member of the Fab Five?
No, I'm not. It's like natural transitions.
I think so.
Today, I just wanted to, so we were having a conversation about the conversations around basketball.
There's a lot,
and there's always conversations, right? There's industries based on talking about basketball. We have a podcast that touches heavily on basketball.
I think as far as a media focused sport, I would think that the NBA is the most media focused sport.
It's the juiciest.
As far as here in the States,
there's so much there's always content.
Yeah, I mean, as far as any other sport, I would feel like NBA players themselves, they're their own marketing team.
Yeah.
They're their own like publicity team. So a player has to be front row. Well, superstars have to be front row, and a lot of that could lead to criticism. It leads to praise.
Well, with every conversation, there's going to be extremes. There's really good content and conversations and positives, and then yes, there's criticisms, but there's also just noise.
Yeah, a lot of trolling,
a
lot of just talking just to talk, which I would say is a lot of the NBA landscape, media landscape.
But in the talking just to talk. So in the reference of what we talked about in the beginning, a member of the Fab Five, one Chris Webber.
Yes.
He's a very polarizing figure. Chris Webber, interesting career in the NBA. Possible Hall of Famer.
Everybody has him as one, Hall of Famer.
But yeah, we'll see.
Not in mine.
But currently, he's a color commentator for ESPN. No, Turner.
I think it's Turner. I think it's TNT.
Color commentator, which for those that aren't well versed in commentary based around sports.
TNT. Turner.
Usually there is a play-by-play guy. He kind of just tells you about the action as you're seeing it, kind of, giving you the rundown as things are going on. Shots going up. This guy's this guy. This guy has the ball in his hands, that kind of thing. Play-by-play. Then a color commentator comes in and he provides insight into finer details about the game, maybe anecdotes about the players that are playing, things of the histories between teams, their own histories and philosophies when it comes to basketball.
How they connect that to what's actually happening in game.
So in play-by-play, it's very black and white. Color guy provides
color. Yeah.
And of the color commentators that we have, Chris Webber's by far the fucking worst one that I've heard in a long time.
It's so bad.
It's really bad.
And it's not just us.
It's not.
The majority of the NBA fan base do not like Chris Webber as a color commentator.
Anytime Chris Webber is commentating a basketball game, and this was very prevalent during the bubble when it was the only thing to watch.
Yes.
Chris Webber's name would trend every time.
Every night.
Yeah. And it's not because, oh man, Chris Webber's gets spitting the knowledge. It's no. What the hell is this man talking about?
He would go on these weird tangents that would have nothing to do with what was happening in the game.
There was one, he was commenting, just speaking on there was a Laker game in the bubble, and two great players facing off against each other. And there's some anecdote about, I wasn't a great player or something, like something about, I don't know what LeBron James is thinking.
Yeah.
And like literally saying that I have no idea what they're thinking, but
thanks for your insight.
This is, and then just says nothing. And I go, then why mention anything? Why talk about anything? Provide me something that you would think about.
Exactly.
The insights on when you play basketball. Not, I have no idea what they're talking about. I have no relation to what, and any insight. So why say that? Why talk about it?
You're just wanting to fill empty air because you don't have anything else to talk about. Most color commentator guys, especially for local networks, because like when they're on their big like stations and you're on the local network, there is also a play-by-play guy and a color guy.
Yeah.
Most of the color guys are in the locker room with the team. They follow the team. They interview the team. Now, obviously, Chris Webber, as a national color commentator, he can't do that amount of research for every single team, obviously. But when you're in that position, you're supposed to bring that to the table.
Bring us something.
Insights from the team, conversations you had with the players.
In general, a lot of these guys, especially on the national stage, get a chance to talk to more of a wider variety of players. They
Absolutely.
don't just get to talk to the local team. They get to go and, hey, let me hit this guy up on Twitter or send him a text.
Yeah.
They're talking to friends and agents and other trainers. Like just what they travel around. They're in contact with these.
They're
guys.
in constant
So
contact.
You get these little nuggets of information, and even that also is like, oh, this guy knows XYZ player, and I played with this guy, and they taught him this move or something. There's always something. Somebody that's gotten better over the years is like a Reggie Miller.
Yeah, Reggie Miller's gotten better.
He wasn't the best when he started.
His catchphrase is still
Cash Money Rules.
Before that one was his catchphrase, it was he would say to the player, so fucking Dwight Howard, click, click. This is your Kodak moment. That was what it was. And I'm pretty sure Kodak was like,
Stop.
You can't do that.
Stop saying that.
So then he changed it to cash money rules. It still hasn't grown on me.
It's going to be the name of the episode. I'm just letting you know.
Ah, shit.
It's grown on me.
It still hasn't grown on me. It's okay. It's better than I guess when I first heard it. But he's gotten
so much better.
He's definitely a player that a commentator that has realized like I need to be more than just the NBA guy on the mic. Because a lot of these other guys, I'm assuming Chris Webber at the beginning was like, I'm the NBA guy. I know everything. I know these players, so I can be able to.
I know the way they run their plays. I know what the motions and all that stuff. And it's like, no.
But even if you know that doesn't make you a good color commentator.
Doesn't mean anything.
Even if you know, that I know what play they're running. Okay, that's great. But you need to add more to this. And like, we wouldn't be talking about this as much if Chris Webber himself didn't bring some heat upon himself.
He realizes he's bad, and he had a Twitter video, or he was on a podcast, and it's on Twitter, essentially saying to all the fans, "Sorry, I hope it gets better."
That if it ended there,
and
great.
I'm like already a little weird because I guess you acknowledge, not great,
sure.
And then to all the haters, fuck you, and I go
verbatim. He said that. And then to all the haters, fuck you. And to everybody else just talking noise, it is what it is. No, it's not what it is.
That is what it is.
No.
Also, fuck you. Be better.
Yeah.
But we talk because it's like half the time we're like, what is it going on in this game? Why is
half of the time we watch the game on mute because we didn't feel like
I'm like watching it. I was like, yo, all right, stop talking for a second then if you don't have anything to say.
Exactly.
So we can just watch what's happening and not just get dead air of you ranting about something that has nothing to do with the basketball game while Anthony Davis is cooking the whole defense left or right. Like, let's not have that. Let's if you see something going on in the game, the best color commentators, they see it and they go, all right, cool, let the play-by-play guy do his thing. Oh, Anthony Davis, he's been doing this, working on this. He's gotten so much better from X time to X time. Like, just insights that we wouldn't have as a regular viewer.
Insights to, if you're supposed to be the NBA person, have insights on game plan, strategy, players' mentality and stuff like that. When a play happens, you should be able to be like, oh, the defense thought they were going to do this, but as you can see, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, whoever, were able to figure out this. Like, give the audience something that we're not just seeing. We can see it. We know what happens.
Or do we understand what we just saw?
Exactly. As the color commentator, that is your job.
And
the play-by-play guy is supposed to be like, Anthony Davis passed it to LeBron James. The color commentator is supposed to be like, he did it because this motion, this defense. Like, that's the shit we need to know.
And if I can, I'm not a professional myself, obviously.
Me neither.
But there is one thing that I want literally every color commentator, any commentator in general to just stop doing is let's stop, like, when there's players that used to be overweight or might be on the heavier side or anything, but like an impressive player.
Yeah.
Can we stop like talking about how fat they are? Because Jokic
is pretty messed
for
up.
the umpteenth time, they're like, Jokic, it's crazy how he can do what he does. He moves like shit on the court. And I go, why are we still on this, man?
He been lost like 3 years.
He's unbelievable. He's one of the best passers in the game.
Absolutely.
He's unstoppable. The dude is amazing to watch. And every time I watch a game, I get told about how fucking fat he was. And I don't care how fat he was. He's not that fat anymore.
And also, even if he was, he plays great.
He plays amazing basketball.
So who cares?
So let's talk about how good he is and the improvements he made and those things. And let's stop talking about the same tired tropes.
That is, really bad.
Like, it's annoying. Let's stop talking about, like, it's unbelievable that LeBron James is doing what he's doing
at 36
years old. And I go, cool. Can you guys tell me I know why, but as a regular viewer, couldn't you explain? LeBron James pays $1 million a year plus into his body to care for it.
Since he was like 18 years old.
18 years old. This man has been about making sure his body is tip top. He has not been injured except for once. In recent years where he had a groin injury and he was out for 2 weeks, and he only did that so he can make sure it didn't get worse.
Exactly.
But literally this man does not stop. And there's reasons for it. But can we? I get it. It is amazing. It's awe-inspiring.
Yeah.
But there is something behind it. There is a reason for it.
They're giving us like the headlines without the inside information.
And I'm like,
LeBron is 36. He should not be doing this. That's a headline. But there should be is like what he's doing.
What he's doing is XYZ.
Exactly.
And then he's also dominating on the offensive end. On the defensive end, he has now a running partner that can take over a bigger defensive load for him. So he doesn't have to. He conserves his body for the playoffs. And then, yes, he takes a lesser matchup, kind of essentially keeps himself in shape all the way up until the playoffs. Then once the playoffs hit, the man's playing 40-plus minutes, taking on the toughest assignments, and doing what he does best.
I love how that for the longest time, like that was a knock on LeBron. LeBron's not going at 100%.
There's a reason for it.
Yeah, it's for fucking reason. And you saw it last year when he had enough energy to win another fucking title at his age.
Speaking of LeBron, let's also be very conscious to not talk about, like, as long as it's appropriate, the players' families in a certain way.
My
so you know where this is going, right?
Exactly where this is
going. Because we were going to talk about another color commentator, Mark Jackson.
Jesus Christ.
Not the worst, but there's a reason this man does not have a coaching job.
Yes.
And it's because his idea of basketball is so in his own ways.
Absolutely.
And never seems to update. And he will never take ownership and adapt to what he's done in the past as far as his basketball philosophies. But also, what the hell is he talking about at the time when he was talking about LeBron James' wife on air, being like, I'd hit, like, not verbatim, but paraphrasing, essentially, I'd hit that. And I was like, hey, yo.
Everybody was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
So I'm like, there's a reason this man does not have an NBA coaching job.
And you know what? I think that's to a larger point of, in general, like the older generation of basketball, like players and whatever. There's been a really like weird trend recently with some of like not only at on in-game commentators, but just like people in the basketball world in general. Did you see the other day that Shaq, and I love Shaq. He's one of my top 3 favorite players of all time. I love Shaq.
I don't even know how to.
On TNT, they played a game with Shaq. Can you name this first player's name?
Shaq. They do this a lot with Chuck.
That's the other person I was going to talk about.
And Chuck is just funny.
Yeah. It's become like a meme, and it's funny
a meme
or whatever,
a little bit, but it gets annoying.
It's really annoying because there are people in the NBA world who are so passionate about every single thing to do with the NBA, and then you have guys who can't even name a first player's name.
Like these are the
couldn't remember Emmanuel Quigley's first name.
400 best basketball players in the world. Like, it's like 400 sounds like a lot, but it's not. Like, I'm talking about the entire world.
Yeah.
When a guy is pretty good and he's of this elite company, you'd think you know their name.
You would think like Chuck,
like on the Knicks, I get it, but Emmanuel Quickly's been cooking.
He's been great, but I can like Chuck gets players' names wrong all the time.
Can't pronounce Luka Doncic.
He always
Vucevic.
he couldn't. Yep, and then he couldn't remember what team they played for. And don't get me, like I said, we love Chuck, we love Shaq. They're members of the NBA community for years. They're awesome. But are they providing the commentary that we need as fans to actually know what the hell is going on? Like
I want to talk about those players.
You know what I mean?
And I would love it on the national stage that these same players get that same respect.
Absolutely. Like, is anybody talking about Tyrese Halliburton and the amazing year that he's had? I don't know if Shaq knows who he is.
Probably the rookie of the year, and yet they don't know his name. They know LaMelo Ball. They know Anthony Edwards. They know
Wiseman, I guess. Yeah.
But let's talk about Tyrese Halliburton.
Oh,
let's talk about, obviously I'm a little bit of homer, Payton Pritchard.
Let's talk about
a central guy.
Let's talk about Tyrese Maxey. Let's talk about Emmanuel Quickly. Let's talk about Obi Toppin. Let's talk about
KZ Okiki. No,
for the
Heat.
For the Heat, Precious Achua or KZ Okapala.
KZ Okapala.
They're fucking great. I mean, like
again, my bad. But exactly, like we're bouncing off each other. We got the guys' names. We know who we're talking about.
We know, like we should be
able to do that.
The players who get, the people who get paid to commentate on NBA and all its inner workings and its players and all that stuff. Like, I feel like a lot of those people need to be. The fact that Doris Burke probably knows more than Shaq and Chuck combined.
Let's get more Doris Burke on TV.
Absolutely.
She's one of the best. She gets it.
She cares about every player.
Love having Doris Burke on TV.
You know what I mean? Like, another person I feel like that's falling into this same mode is like Jeff Van Gundy. He's been NBA commentator royalty for years now. But he's leaning into that thing as well. You know what I mean?
It's weird.
It's getting hard. It's getting hard, like as an NBA fan, and as a person who appreciates the inner working of basketball and all the little things. It gets hard for me when I see a player coming up that the commentators don't know who they are.
Like to this day, there's a lot of writers and people in those NBA circles. They really care about these things, and you hear it when they talk. Like I listen to a lot of Bill Simmons podcasts, and he always brings on people like Zach Lowe or Jackie McMullen and people like that know everything.
Brian
they know
Windhorst,
about everybody. They were like, I talked to this guy, I talked to their families, I talked to this person that interviewed this person. Like, they know their shit.
Don't you think that person is going to have more insight than Charles Barkley?
And I love Chuck and I love all these guys. And it gets frustrating sometimes when it's like, yes, it could be funny. It's national TV stuff.
It's supposed to be entertaining.
And it is entertaining. Yeah. There's a lot of entertainment to be had. But it's hard when you want to appreciate players and show people how good these guys are. And then you do that and people just like kind of do the same to them. They go, the national guys are kind of bashing them and not.
Like what Shaq did with Donovan Mitchell.
The D Mitch thing is what I thought you were gonna get at. The D Mitch thing was so. I got the exact quote.
I haven't because I had it pulled up too.
Because Shaq, after Donovan Mitchell does his thing, wins a game. They're on national television. So Mitchell scored 36 points, and it was on their 7th straight win on their win streak. Mm-hmm. Shaq goes, I said tonight that you were one of my favorite players. Great. But you don't have what it takes to get to the next level.
What?
I said it on purpose, and I wanted you to hear it. What do you have to say about that? Why do you disrespect somebody to their face? What is Donovan Mitchell supposed to do when he's in the league? He's a young man who's already had actually quite a lot of success.
Very much so.
Rookie year eliminates Paul George and Russ in the playoffs.
First round of the playoffs.
Was right up there in Rookie of the Year voting. The man is doing his thing.
He was a game away from the Western Conference Finals last year.
Like, he's playing hard. And what, maybe like is he not out there chirping? I don't know. Like, but the dude's playing hard. He's working on his game. He's lights out. He was going toe to toe against Jamal Murray last year.
Yeah,
freaking performances like you wouldn't fucking believe.
He now is having a way better season than Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray's just disappeared halfway through the.
What do you mean?
Season.
Like, even if Shaq said it like as an intention to motivate him, Like, why say it like that to somebody's face? Like, I don't think you have what it takes. What do you think about me saying that to you?
That's so what is Donovan Mitchell supposed to say to that?
Is anybody supposed to say that?
Because he says, I think like Donovan Mitchell goes on to say, he goes, and then Shaq goes, that's it. Donovan Mitchell responds, that's it. I've been hearing that since my rookie year. You know, I'm just going to get better and do what I do. Like Donovan Mitchell,
they're professional, consummate professional,
hottest team in basketball at the time, and they still are the hottest team.
He's
in basketball.
literally essentially saying, "This is what I do. Like, say whatever you want. I'm going to go out there and do my thing." And it's like, what do you want him to like do for you right now?
That's the issue. If Shaq would have been like, I don't think you have what it takes to go to the next level, whatever he said. Shaq didn't then elaborate in what the fuck do I mean by that?
What is the next level?
You want me to shoot better? You want me to play defense better? You want me to rebound better? You want me to pass better? What? You're not giving me any insight.
Like,
That's what I was saying. You're just giving me the title without giving me the meat of what you want to talk about.
And this is where I go. Like Chuck, I do appreciate. Like he was just recently on a Bill Simmons podcast, and he was talking about a lot of the younger guys, and he said it like, yeah, sometimes older guys are older guy shit, but he does believe. When they're talking about like a Joel Embiid or somebody, they pointed out things that they were like, this guy needs to get in better shape. This guy needs to take over the games and be there at the end, playing hard. He's uber talented, and there is no reason why at the end of the game he should be a non-factor.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, that's insightful.
That's constructive criticism.
Constructive criticism. So why not do that? And then essentially, Chuck has always never, been the biggest guy on like jump shooting teams, but he's always told, if you're a big man, if you're trying to take over the game, get in the post, get your touches to distribute, to disrupt what teams are doing right now, and like play what you do best.
Absolutely.
And specifically to certain guys. He's not telling everybody get in the post. He's telling, all right, Joel Embiid, why are you camping out at 3-point line? You're at the end of the game, you're tired. I get
You're
it.
7 feet tall. Why are you out there?
Fucking paint.
Yeah.
And then draw the defense in. It makes room for your other guys.
Kick out.
And then it gives you a threat when you're shooting and stuff like that. Same thing, Jokic, get in the post, score.
Yeah.
You have the ability to do these things. Like, why not do it? Now you're seeing like Sabonis doing big things. You're seeing Bam Adebayo being, a real presence in the paint.
Yeah.
Like, yes, there's constructive criticisms. So why are we having so much not constructive stuff at such a high level on the national stage?
And it doesn't even take much. Like when rest in peace, Kobe Bryant, whenever he would do his mama mentality to players, he would tell them, I want you to do this. He told Giannis, I want you to be defensive player of the year. He told Jason Tatum, I want you to become an all-star. I want you to shoot better. Like, we're not asking like every single commentator to go into the specific statistics of the PR of every single player, but don't just be like, I don't think you got it. And then,
because what does having it mean?
What do you mean?
What do you want them to aim for? What do you want them to strive for?
What do you want them to do? Like I said, it is entertaining to watch these guys on TV. I'm not saying that we don't need them anymore. That's not what I'm saying.
100%.
But we just
part of the game. We need it.
Absolutely. Do I like seeing Chuck get frustrated sometimes? Yeah. Sure. Like I said, I love Shaq. He's one of my favorite players of all time. He's very entertaining. He's a very big presence on TV. And when him and Kenny the Jet Smith go at it, I think it's hilarious. Now, Kenny the Jet Smith, I feel like is one of the guys who actually pays attention.
He does.
To people's
he really does.
He pays attention to basketball. You can tell. You can see the difference when they talk on the stage. How
he goes down, he runs down the stage, he breaks down the plays. Yeah. He knows what's going on. He knows everybody's name. He knows what's going on.
Absolutely.
So it's not like we have examples of guys
we don't
that aren't
have
doing
examples.
It. Like they're there. They're doing it.
When before Stan Van Gundy went back to coaching, I loved him when he was color commentating. Oh my God, because he had just gotten out of the league, so he still knew a lot of the players. He still knew a lot of the game and how he was breaking down stuff, especially in the bubble. How he was breaking down like plays and a player's mentality on why he would do this, why he would do that. I think Stan Van was great as commentator.
And even having guys that are still in the league, it was always a thing. Like like a Jalen Rose, that he would always, even though he was still in the league, he was doing stuff on television, and it's good to have guys that do that. And like Draymond Green's doing a lot of that.
Yeah,
he's great. Has a ton of knowledge.
Yeah,
and people want to say that he talks a lot of smack, but the dude knows his game. He knows the guys that are playing well. He knows, he sees the things that are going on. He knows
he's going to be a future commentator for sure.
I'm like, I would love to see more Draymond Green too. Like stuff like that. I'm like, oh, it's so good for the game. And it creates conversation, and it helps provide insight and information for people that want to have discussions on their own.
Absolutely.
Like day-to-day stuff. It's nice to know, some basics and some stats and some stuff. So you can be like, oh, I like this guy. And like, yeah, did you hear about this? And it's the good water cooler talk.
You can really see the difference between like the nationally televised games and like your local games and how differently the commentators approach. Obviously, the local commentators know way more because that's the only team that they cover.
And then the Knicks have an unfair advantage over everybody.
Of course,
having Mike Breen.
Mike Breen is fucking amazing.
I'm like,
Mike Breen is fucking amazing.
Bitches.
But like, I remember when PJ Carlissimo used to be a color commentator. Yeah. He was great. Like
some good stuff.
We just want.
I know.
People.
Shout out to my boy Brian. He doesn't like the Celtics color commentary and like the commentary team, but they were actually as much homers as they were. They would bash the team and talk about development of the team and the players specifically, and seeing year to year differences and changes. And I'm like, yeah, it's good to see stuff like that. It's good to see guys that are passionate about their teams as well.
Yeah,
like it's nice.
It was also fun hearing Tommy Heinsohn go.
Rest in peace,
Whoa!
Tommy Heinsohn. Whoa, Marcus. Tommy Heinsohn watching Kyrie Irving play was one of my favorite things ever. Wow! that man, like, so much emotion for it, and he's like, I can't process what's happening. It's amazing.
I love Tommy Heinsohn.
It.
Rest in
peace, Tommy. But yeah, no, we're gonna continue some more of this basketball. Talk about basketball talk.
Talk about basketball talk.
To talk about basketball talk after this little bitty break. So, yeah, we'll be back. Yeah. So we back. Yeah. And Stain was talking about, basketball and criticisms. We're gonna air our own grievances because that's what we do.
There's been some chatter on Twitter lately about basketball that we've been participating in some of the chatter. I can't deny.
Look, it's fun to talk about basketball.
Hell
and
yeah.
have conversations about it, but we're talking about basketball.
Yeah.
What we don't really care to talk about is people talking about not liking other people talking about basketball.
Yes.
Like as if people don't like have some sort of authority for people to talk like what they want to talk.
If somebody likes talking basketball, why are you hating about them talking about basketball?
So what we're referencing is a video from Bleacher Report that they posted. One of their senior writers, Master Tess. He does good stuff, but the video was talking about the Anthony Edwards dunk that shook the world. Trust me, it did shake the world. It took over Twitter for that night.
Yes, absolutely.
It did.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful thing to watch. But what he didn't like, apparently, was for every person that was talking about the dunk, people were talking about Anthony Edwards' efficiency during the game and how he was shot 0 for 7 for 3 from that point and 3 for 15 from the floor up until that dunk. And he was... what I took angst against is him talking about stat nerds. That these stat nerds are ruining the conversation about basketball. We just want to appreciate these plays without the nerds coming in and talking about all these analytics and ruining the game for us. Fuck off.
It's really frustrating to hear.
That is frustrating. Because, all right, I don't know if I'm a stat nerd, but I appreciate the analytics just as much as I appreciate watching the game.
Numbers matter.
And what he was saying, and I don't know how many people at Bleacher Report will also
agree with him
and also verbalize this. But I know a lot of I know I've read a lot of stuff on Bleacher Report that also speaks with the use of analytics.
Absolutely,
and they have their own content with that. But essentially, why should it matter to you that a person wants to talk about the numbers and use that to verify what their eyes are seeing?
Yes,
like actually matters. It's analytics help quantify the greatness when we're just talking like day-to-day stuff.
Absolutely,
like it's very useful stuff, and it's not ruining the game. If not, we're getting the best basketball that we've gotten in such a long time.
Absolutely,
like Why do people get so mad at
Do you know why numbers and stats matter? Because here's just one example off the top of my head. You know who I probably wouldn't know about because of the time that I live in? I wouldn't know about Wilt Chamberlain. I just wouldn't. I wasn't born in the 60s.
How much footage do we have of Wilt Chamberlain? Not much.
But you know what I do know? I do know that he scored 100 points in a game.
Yeah.
I do know that he at one point averaged like 40 points and like 30 rebounds.
He has the most 50-point games in NBA history.
He's more than like triple the next person. So the stats, the people who love stats and the stuff from that video, the thing that got me the most irked when he was like, these nerds, they don't watch basketball. All
they're trying to ruin the fun of basketball.
But what do you
essentially saying, why do we need the analytics to verify what our eyes are seeing? And I'm like, nobody's not saying that the dunk wasn't fun. Our eyes are clearly telling us that the dunk is fun, but that's that one singular thing.
Yeah.
But then when he gets into the other stuff, talking about like DeMar DeRozan and hitting these clutch shots, and he's like, well, the analytics will tell us that DeMar DeRozan doesn't take efficient shots. Well, he fucking doesn't.
He doesn't.
Do you watch Spurs games? Do you tell me right now that DeMar DeRozan is taking the best shots that you want him to take all the time? Yes, he's a great 2-point shot maker, but it's already proven that that is not the most efficient shot.
Yes.
You either want to get closer to the basket or take a three. Now, there are extremes where people go, that's all they do. Look at the Houston Rockets the last couple of years, and James Harden's game is literally just that. And some people don't like that, and I get that.
That's fine.
But those are just those players. But at the same time, we're watching the game, and we're like, cool. DeMar DeRozan does that. Jason Tatum coming into the league, that was his knock, that he would take a lot of long twos.
Yeah.
So they decided.
People talked to all his rookie year about it.
And in the advanced numbers, the Celtics looked at it and was like, look, you are so good and elite at these things, and you have scoring range. Take 2 steps back.
That's all we want.
Take some threes, and you're going to see the game get so much easier.
And
look what fucking happened.
You're going to go from good to elite. Like the numbers said, that shot you're taking is the worst shot in basketball. The mid-range 2 is the worst shot.
Mid-range,
in
long 2
is the worst shot in basketball.
Not a good shot.
Take 2 steps
back. You
can
take them if they're giving it to you and certain things are happening.
Yeah.
But don't look for that shot.
That's
the go-to.
You know, we talked about this a couple days ago. You know who cared about numbers and stats? Masai Ujiri.
Who won a championship for the freaking Toronto Raptors.
Because he saw, hey, DeMar DeRozan doesn't want to shoot the 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trade him and keep Kyle Lowry, who people wanted them to trade Kyle Lowry, but he saw Kyle Lowry is the driving force of this team. It's not DeMar DeRozan.
The numbers show that Kyle Lowry is more important to the winning of the Toronto Raptors than DeMar DeRozan was.
And then he went out and got Kawhi Leonard, one of the most efficient shooters in the game, who when he joined the Spurs couldn't shoot a 3 when he joined the Spurs.
Yeah.
And then the Spurs were like, you need to shoot 3s.
It will make you a much better player.
It'll make you from good to elite. And then what did he do? He became a really good 3-point shooter. Masai Ujiri was like, that guy's learned how to shoot 3s. He knows how to handle the ball. His statistics say that when he's on the floor, the team wins more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for it for 1 year. I don't care if it's only 1 year. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to get the guy that the stats say is one of the best players in the game. I'm going to put him on my team and get rid of the efficient shooter.
Or the guy that your eyes tell you one thing.
Yeah.
But clearly, I don't know what eyes you're using. I watch it and I go, yeah, I'd rather not have that. You know, he's not winning. I'm watching him lose games.
You know who was shooting long range 2s? DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge. And they're on the same team now. And that's why they haven't been anywhere.
Like the Spurs are middling, decent, and it shows.
Yes.
You watch the games and that's what it looks like.
Exactly.
So my eyes and the stats aren't lying to me.
My
eyes and the stats agree.
I just don't understand what his point was when he was like, they're not appreciating the dunk that Anthony Edwards did. We're appreciating
the whole internet appreciated
it. It was an amazing dunk. It was everywhere.
Guess what? For those guys that are talking about the analytics and the stats, those are the guys that saved you the time. So they went, cool, enjoy that dunk so you didn't have to watch the rest of that shit show of a game.
Exactly.
Because Anthony Edwards played like fucking dog shit.
And you know who didn't care that much about the dunk? Timberwolves fans, because he shot 0 for 7 from 3 and they lost the fucking game.
So thank the stat nerds for allowing you to enjoy that moment while you didn't have to watch the rest of that. Because it wasn't good to watch.
The whole thing about this, like if you only care about the numbers, stick to your chest.
My eyes don't lie to me. It's not fun to watch. You know who's been a lot of fun to watch? LaMelo Ball.
Yes.
And you know what the stats say? LaMelo Ball's pretty good. He's got a lot of upside. Mm-hmm. You know who's been a lot of fun to watch? James Wiseman.
Yep.
You know what the stats say has a lot of upside? James Wiseman. There's guys that are fun to watch, and my eyes are telling me something. And for the people that go, that guy's not good, James Wiseman's not even playing that much. Well, I'm like, guess what? My eyes aren't lying to me. Nope. I see things that he does as elite. And guess what? The stats will tell me he does a lot of special things.
The eye test is real. There are things that you can't quantify with a stat. Players like Rajon Rondo, Marcus Smart, PJ Tucker, these guys that do Pat Beverly.
There are stats that quantify what they do.
To some extent.
Yeah, anybody, you can find a stat for anybody that kind of puts them down.
Yeah, of course.
But there are stats, and to me, my ultimate stat for everything is the W. When guys are on the court, do you win?
That's very true.
That's the stat that matters at the end of the day. What is the stat that matters to win an NBA championship? The win.
Absolutely.
So there are stats that go, when this guy is on the court, there are certain things we can look when your eyes are telling you something. Like you watch Rajon Rondo play and you go, damn, they're playing so well when he's on the court. How do you explain that to somebody that doesn't understand basketball? My eyes are telling me that he's good, but how do you understand that? Then when they ask you, but what does that mean? Well, there's stats to tell you. His assist to turnover ratio is freaking amazing.
Yes.
He makes the best decisions. When guys play with him, their box plus minus is higher than without him on the court.
And you know who did that? The nerds. The nerds that watch every single possession of every game and quantify every aspect of the game. So the people who only watch the highlights and the dunks, and are you more of a fan of basketball than the person who watches every second of every game?
How did we get Giannis Antetokounmpo? Because of the stat nerds.
We
should go all in on this guy because he has these raw skills that when he plays, it leads to wins.
Yes.
It's better to have him, so let's put more into him and focus the team around him. It works.
Numbers matter, bro. Daryl Morey is all about numbers. And barring an injury to Chris Paul, they would have made the finals.
Without Daryl Morey not making that trade for James Harden, essentially giving him his own team because he knew what he was about. Like, not saying I credit Daryl Morey for James Harden's career, but it's a guy that said, I want to give this guy an opportunity because the numbers show this. So what happened.
When James Harden was on OKC, he was the best shot for his team on the floor. Kevin Durant was the best player 100% during the OKC era. But we know that when James Harden was on the floor,
good things happened
and they won more games. You know who is not efficient with his numbers? Russell Westbrook. Efficiently one of the worst three-point shooting guards ever.
My eyes don't lie to me.
My eyes don't lie that Russ can dunk over everybody. He's one of the most athletic players to ever play in basketball. But my eyes also tell me that he can't shoot a three. And you know what backs that up? The numbers. So what happens when Russ got his own team and James Harden got his own team? One went to the Western Conference Finals, and the other one got beat by Donovan Mitchell in the first round.
Well, that was the thing. A lot of people, when Russ got his triple-double season, his MVP season, a lot of people said that the eyes has, this is an amazing thing to watch. And I'm like, sure, is that what you're saying? And then the numbers community is like, yeah, it's great. He's getting these crazy statistics.
Yeah.
But Kawhi Leonard and James Harden are having better seasons.
Yes.
And that translated into more wins.
Absolutely.
Deeper playoff runs. And overall better results.
Absolutely.
And it's like, when you watch good basketball, you want to watch good basketball, right? The numbers are going to show you where the good basketball is. It's going to show you, hey, this is a good thing to watch here. Why do you want to watch subpar play?
The eye test showed me that Shannon Brown could dunk like nobody else.
Shannon Brown, amazing to watch.
The eye test also showed me that he couldn't do anything else.
Because everything else was booty.
He couldn't do anything else.
Could not do anything else.
You say what you want. Jahlil Okafor, the eye test told me he was going to be one of the best centers in the NBA. And then the eye test also showed me that he doesn't want to play defense. He doesn't want to pass. He doesn't want to know how to shoot but outside of 2 feet from the basket. And the numbers back that up.
So it's hard to play him.
So the numbers matter. And for the NBA fans, the diehards, like this gentleman that did the piece, like, you're insulting a lot of the people who think that the numbers are very important and love watching basketball. When you watch, nobody would care about the statistic of basketball if they didn't love basketball.
Basketball statistics help us appreciate the game more.
Absolutely.
The Sloan Conference is awesome. They go into the advanced analytics. They give us better tools to just look for better basketball. Mm-hmm. They help us quantify the things that we have seen in the past in ways that, all right, so like this is an example I was going to give, because they mentioned Kobe Bryant and Allen Iverson.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like the advanced stats would show us that Kobe Bryant wasn't as advanced or as efficient as a shooter as we all thought he was. Who the hell thought Kobe Bryant was a very efficient shooter? No, he shot a lot. He made a lot of hard basketball plays.
Because he didn't pass the ball as much, so he had to shoot harder shots.
Actually, no. The advanced stats would show you he was actually a far better passer than we realized.
Yeah, I'm like, he didn't pass the ball as much as like another average player would, because he was so good at shooting hard shots, he would take them.
But the advanced stats actually help us to tell the story when people want to knock Kobe like he didn't pass the ball. Actually, he was very good at doing that. He was a good decision maker. He can make the hardest shots. He was actually a better shooter in the playoffs than he was in the regular season. The stats show us.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers
like,
don't lie.
The numbers
man.
aren't lying. So like I wanted to compare it to somebody where I'm like, okay, I got two guys, both of which Hall of Fame caliber players, but one's clearly we define as better than the other.
Okay.
So I have a guy that has a better 3-point percentage, but overall their true field goal
shooting percentage,
the true shooting percentage numbers are lower.
Okay.
Their points per game are lower, and their win shares are lower.
Okay.
Who do you think is going to be the better player?
The one with the better numbers.
The better numbers is Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant averaged more points in his career, 25 points per game. His effective field goal percentage was 48.2 per game, or for his career.
Yeah.
And though he was a career 33% field goal 3-point shooter, he had the top 20 PER.
Yep.
And top 20 win shares all time.
Those numbers matter a lot.
And
the other guy?
PER was pretty decent. The other guy was Tracy McGrady.
Ha!
Amazing 3-point shooter, but he only shot 33.8% from 3. Slightly better.
Yes.
But he had worse field goal percentage, worse free throw percentage, worse effective field goal percentage, worse points per game. Mm-hmm. His win shares are vastly lower.
And that would all tell you.
And who would you think would have a much more successful career? The guy with the better statistics.
Yes.
And it's like the numbers are showing me, even if it sounds like it's small, the guy who's more successful is the guy with the better numbers.
You know who probably wouldn't?
Hall of Famers. But
yes,
clearly one's better.
You know who also wouldn't be like to the level that they are right now without numbers? Probably Steph Curry.
Steph Curry.
When they were like, "Hey, Steph, you don't have to shoot twos anymore.
Shoot your
You're
threes.
so efficient and so good at shooting the 3-pointer.
Just do that.
Do that
and get unattainable records.
Because we know that the 2-point shot is the worst shot in basketball, and you're really good at shooting a 3-pointer. The numbers say don't even try to shoot twos anymore. Just shoot threes, and we'll see what happens.
And it was great.
That and like the thing that got me like really not upset. Well, that irked me about the guy's video when he was like, "There's a time and place for stats." Nobody's saying that there isn't a time and place for stats. All people were saying was like that dunk was great, but they lost the game. He played like crap. So in my opinion, the people who would actually have a stake in watching the game are Timberwolves fans. And the fact that they could have had James Wiseman, they could have had LaMelo Ball,
they could have had Tyrese Halliburton.
They could have had Tyrese Halliburton. They could have had Emmanuel Quickly and Tyrese Maxey, all these other guys. but they chose to go with Anthony Edwards. I'm not saying that Anthony Edwards isn't going to end up being a great player. He'll be, I don't know yet. You know what's going to tell me that? The stats are going to tell me that.
At the end of the day, when we see how things play out, we'll see who's going to be much more entertaining to watch, much more, oh man, we should watch and appreciate the eye test on these guys. It'll be funny when the stats bear out what our eyes were also seeing, that some of these other guys may actually be, you know, better players.
Peyton Pritchard, like you mentioned earlier.
That guy's going to have a long NBA career.
He gets it already.
He gets it.
Already.
The numbers show that he's pretty good for a rookie, and he's able to stay on the floor and should be a rotation player.
Absolutely.
And when we watch him play, my eyes and the stats agree.
Before he got injured, Cole Anthony was having a great rookie season before he got injured. And then
I wanted him on my team.
He was playing great, and then obviously he got injured, so we don't know anything past that. But I mean, for that guy to be like, yeah, the nerds, we don't need you here.
Like people just being like nerds.
Yeah, dude, like what are you doing, man?
Like stat nerds that want to call themselves stat nerds and be lovingly about it and a good way about it. But just being like, all these nerds are up in here. It's like, yeah.
Come on, man. We don't need that.
Don't ever, like, I'm just going to say it right now. Don't ever mention a stat in any of your pieces ever again. Yeah, because clearly you don't want to.
Why are you trying to alienate people for talking about basketball?
You talk about basketball. You write basketball. You want people to read basketball. So why talk about other people's ability to speak about basketball?
You
do that.
You know whose pieces I love reading? We mentioned him earlier. Zach Lowe. Zach Lowe's all about numbers.
Really good stuff.
Zach Lowe's all about statistics and numbers and how those play into a player's winnability. And hearing him talk about basketball is fucking awesome because he loves the game, he loves numbers, and they both meld very well together.
Kevin O'Connor talks a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
Has some great draft stuff. Can break down a lot of good basketball. He uses the numbers and the eye test. Things go hand in hand.
Yes.
And when you see it bear out, you go, hey, there's guys we may have missed. But usually the guys people miss on, it's the numbers would have told us we should have been on this guy.
Tyrese Halliburton.
The numbers were saying this guy is really good at playing basketball.
Yes.
And people missed that.
In college, whenever he was on the floor, his team was better.
But it's crazy that sometimes we go off the eye test and we get a lot of not so favorable outcomes.
You know, the eye test is very interesting between Zion Williamson and Ja Morant.
Ja Morant's really good.
Ja Morant is really, really good. Zion is coming into his own now.
He's getting there.
He's playing way, way better. But it's going to be interesting. You know who was statistically better before they got into college? Cam Reddish.
And he didn't do that. He did certain things in college. Mm-hmm. The stats weren't showing that great a thing.
Yep.
But the eye test, he was very, very good.
Of course.
On the eye test.
At one point, he was ranked higher than Zion.
He ain't doing too much right now.
Nope.
The eye test, we can't do an eye test because he doesn't play any games that I want to watch.
He's getting beaten out by Kevin Huerter.
Like, it's one of those things.
DeAndre Hunter.
Look, the eye test tells me that, like, when you watch a guy and you want to go just off the eye test, I guess, may tell you that Eric Bledsoe is a good basketball player. You play with Eric Bledsoe on your team then.
The Pelicans aren't even playing him.
It's trash. But the statistics show that maybe somebody like Chris Paul, you should have that guy on your team.
Yeah.
Look what happens when he goes on your team. He's winning.
Why does he get paid $40 million a year? Because his team wins.
His team wins. He's a winning guy. He makes winning plays, and it's quantifiable by the stats.
Yes.
Say what you want about the stat nerds. I'm getting tired of seeing players like get passes just because they can do a couple amazing things.
Mm-hmm.
The guys that are good stats guys do consistently amazing things.
Absolutely.
And that's the difference.
And they might not do the flashiest of things, but the numbers back it up. When a player is good, the numbers back it up. More often than not, the numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
That's just when it gets down to. More often than not, the numbers don't lie. And you can say that the stat nerds are ruining the game and all they care about is numbers and whatever. I don't believe that.
as the stats have come out and PERs and win shares and all these kinds of stats are coming out, they're just showing even more the greatness of some of the greatest players.
Absolutely.
They're helping us appreciate these guys even more. We're able to see that some of the statistical seasons that we've seen that our eyes told us were amazing were so light years beyond what we thought and may not be approachable again.
Absolutely.
The years that we've had with LeBron and Michael Jordan, Kobe, Shaq, Will Chamberlain, Bill Russell, you name it.
Larry Bird,
Kareem. Like, there's so many guys that the advanced stats show us this shit is amazing. Don't ever forget about these guys.
Absolutely.
Because their stats and these things will be immortalized forever. And the people from prior generations will always get to look back now and know and have knowledge and see it in front of their faces. These guys are worth appreciating.
Yep. I mean, Kevin O'Connor, like every time, pretty much, I would say like once a month, he always tweets out, appreciate LeBron James. Appreciate him.
And guess what? We're going to be able to do that because as much as somebody's going to want to go, LeBron James wasn't as good as X, Y, or Z player, because they get to do that. The eye test shows that he was.
Yep.
And then the stats overwhelmingly show how good he is.
Absolutely.
So time and place for everything. I think there's always a time and place for the stats because they get to help us appreciate what we're seeing.
Do I love looking at dunk compilations and block Yes, I do.
Hell yeah.
I love it. I watch it all the time.
We're never going to lie to ourselves and say like Vince Carter had a better career than Kobe because he had more highlights.
Period.
That's blasphemous.
Period. Is Vince Sanity half man, half amazing, one of my favorite players to watch? Yeah. Yes. But how did he win? Did the numbers show that he would be a winner? No, they didn't. So the eye test, he was fantastic to watch. I love watching Vince Carter, but the numbers don't lie.
I like watching good basketball.
So do I.
The numbers usually point to where I could watch. I like watching, Philly. I like watching Denver play, the Lakers, the Nets. Mm-hmm. I like watching all these teams play because the numbers show that that's where the good basketball is, and obviously they're winning and stuff like that. So guess what? It saves me the trouble of being like, okay, cool. I'm going to watch, I don't know,
the Hawks
or Sacramento play today. I'm going to watch the Timberwolves play or the Pistons, where I'm like, yeah, every now and then maybe I'll tune in and watch a highlight. But I don't care to watch that. You sit through it.
Do you think he was actually watching the Spurs play?
Do you think he was actually watching the Wolves play that night?
Probably not.
All right then.
Probably not.
Probably not. Right?
No.
So there you go.
Do you think Shaq knows who Kevin Huerter is?
No, I can 100% say he does
you
not.
think Shaq
like if we showed
Kevin
him a
Huerter?
picture of anybody in the world and be like, this is Kevin Huerter, you'd be like, sure. I think that could happen.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think so?
100%. I think I could show him Peyton Pritchard, Kevin Huerter, Dante DiVincenzo,
Bryn Forbes,
and Grayson Allen, and he would be like, those are all the same guy.
I don't want.
Is that even like a race thing? It's just like,
I don't want to say that you're wrong because I
but
can't.
tell me that probably wouldn't happen. If you could be like, I think that's this guy. Like, how do you know?
Probably not. We love watching basketball.
We love basketball.
We just love basketball.
We love watching basketball. We love talking basketball. We want more people to watch basketball. We want more people to talk basketball. We want to have the conversations. We get it that there's trolls. We get it that there's fanboys. But guess what? More basketball talk is good basketball talk.
Don't alienate a large portion of the fan base just because you don't necessarily like what they're talking about. Because you know what's going to make Anthony Edwards a better player is people saying shoot better.
No, you know what'll make Anthony Edwards a better player? When you go, hey, when you're 0 for 7 from 3, don't shoot more threes.
Yeah.
You see that dunk you did? That's a very efficient shot.
Do more of those.
Do some more of those and get your rhythm going. Driving to the paint, it's going to get you a little bit more space shooting them threes. Because the stats will show when you're a scoring threat on the inside and a slasher, people play off you to try to take away the paint.
Yeah.
So you get better threes.
Numbers don't lie.
And they spell disaster for you.
Yes!
If you get the reference, just Just let us know.
Senior Joe.
Sacrifice.
At sacrifice.
Kurt Angle knows.
Got a 202 the third chance, but Kurt Angle knows.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Edwin.
This has been Crowd Culture.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.
Ready to work. Kendall's 30-minute ride.